Hello, everybody. My name is Rebecca van Genechten, and within Siemens, I am globally responsible for our pharmaceutical business. A market very much in the spotlight these days, and that is why I'm very excited to have with me today one of our strategic partners talking about two topics that are close to my heart: speeding up vaccine development and digitalization. Happy to introduce you to my guest, Mr. Matt Harrison, Head of Science, Digital Innovation and Business Strategy at GlaxoSmithKline Vaccines R&D. Welcome, Matt. How
Hi,
are you
Rebecca.
today?
How are you?
And too bad that we can't do this interview physically in one place, Matt, but I guess after 1 year on and off of quarantine, we are used to working from home and interacting with each other virtually, right?
For sure, and actually, it's a fairly unique experience this for me as well. I've been with GSK now for 8 months and have not met a single person from first interview to today. So I'm truly living a digital life with this company at the moment. Very proud to be part of it, but it'd be nice to meet some people face to face at some point.
I can imagine, yeah, that is not easy, not easy at all. So we wanted to talk today about vaccines, about GSK, about the partnership between GSK and Siemens around digitalization. But first of all, maybe starting with vaccination itself. It's one of the most important and effective preventive measures available in healthcare. How do vaccines work and what makes them that effective?
Sure. So the principle behind vaccination is to boost the individual's own immune defences. Vaccination exposes the body to a minute quantity of pathogens. The immune system responds, develops the appropriate antibodies, and stores the pathogen cells in its immunological memory. Not only does the vaccinated patient build up protection against the disease through vaccination, but high vaccination rates among general populations make it harder for the individual pathogens to spread, which ultimately may even result in that eradication of that pathogen. The faster vaccines are available to the world's population, the sooner the spread of the virus can be stopped.
So a great way to indeed rescue the world, especially in days like today. In the meantime, we have all become an expert in vaccines, isn't it? Now we hear a lot about them, and we understand that developing an effective and a safe vaccine is an extremely time-consuming process. Can you explain what it is then that this process looks like and the different steps that take this much time?
Yeah, so we start by sequencing the gene of the pathogen. Researchers begin by analysing the components that are particularly important and thus determine where an immune response could be effective. This can take time, but it is crucial to the vaccine development process. Get this right and we have a vaccine. We can then review the effectiveness of that vaccine, firstly in the lab and in animal trials if necessary, and then in a multi-stage development process in clinical studies on humans. If the protection provided by the vaccine is proven and it is demonstrated to be safe, we can then apply to register that vaccine. We prepare for mass production and set up the appropriate production facilities. I guess this is something that everyone, as you say, is becoming a bit aware of.
Yeah, indeed. And would you agree with me that digitalization can be an accelerating factor in this process? How is that being done in GSK? Are you working around these topics of digitalization to accelerate?
Yeah, for sure. Look, much like in every other element of life, digitalization is having an impact on both how we discover vaccines and then how we accelerate their development. It also means that we can use digitalization to understand quality and hopefully get things right first time. So this is a really critical element for us. We can develop a vaccine, but ultimately we need to know how to make it reliably right first time so that we can get it ultimately out into the market. So right now, vaccine development is progressing in many small silos, I guess. There's a lot of digitalization of various steps, but the connectivity of that digitalization is one of the real opportunities that we have. So this is where we're looking to optimize, and we're considering the process as a whole, digitalizing the entire value chain ultimately, where we then hope to make a genuine improvement around how we discover, how we develop, and then ultimately launch and manufacture our vaccine.
And I agree with you. I think digitalization is a glue, is a means as to make that happen with data flows that would allow us to do so. So what are your aims as a GSK to build this, what we would call at Siemens, digital enterprise?
So look, it's a comprehensive approach. I mean, there's a lot going on within the company, but the approach that partnering with Siemens to cover product design, in other words, developing the vaccine from a research and development perspective, making the active ingredient in primary processing, and then manufacturing the pharmaceutical itself, the secondary processing, is where we can work with partners like yourself to really help. So the digital twin is a GSK product, but if we were able to do, we've only been able to really develop that thanks to the partnership with yourselves, with the PAT capabilities you have and the automation solutions, as well as the expertise that we can lean on to help us build that twin.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioning that digital twin, which obviously is the combination of this virtual simulation world and the real world out there in a closed loop, using that as a virtual representation in this case of a particular process step, making it possible to test certain stages in the process to gain insights in a virtual environment. So what are GSK's expectations from you starting such implementation now of digital twins?
Every day GSK manufactures around 2 million doses of vaccines. Okay. Now GSK is turning to digitalization to help accelerate. So working with people like yourselves, our project partners, and the internal capabilities that we're building, we're planning to introduce digital twins of the entire vaccine manufacturing process for all future vaccines. We will create digital twins alongside our more traditional development activities to help us understand factors critical to successful launch and manufacture. Essentially, we will link digital twins of the product and the production process, and also the product, to link all of those together to really build that understanding of what we're designing and developing, and then how we can routinely manufacture that. So this will really allow for us to improve monitoring, build understanding, and ultimately deliver right product at the right time. The principle of co-simulation is that the key element for GSK, this is really important to us, the digital twins of individual part processes are created first, from the cell culture fermentation to purification. The specific formula and the filling process are all looked to be combined, which are then brought together at a later stage to ultimately build this digital twin of the real life of what's actually happening as we make the vaccine.
The end-to-end thing, really, yeah. It's great to hear you talk about it, Matt, with so much passion that we also share in this industry, and all the benefits that you just described. And I guess still a journey for GSK also to get what you're planning to do with this vision. Thank you so much, Matt, for sharing your insights in this very exciting journey, and looking forward to take the next steps together with GSK. Thank you very much.
No, fantastic. Thank you.